Boy, does that work. And it's the same with the clients. They don't like to be told what to do. I had this conversation with one of my staff the other day, and she was telling me what she had said to a client, and it didn't go well. And it was, do this, do that, you need, do this, do that. Hey, no, you're telling. Now, Mike and Baum, and just looking at this crowd, I know that there are some people in here that remember who Columbo was. And he advocates a Columbo-like approach, which, you know, I've been accused of just looking like Columbo on occasion. But I have this natural way of talking to people that's kind of, you know, I'm a little forgetful. So, you know, we talking about something, and, oh yeah, I was going to ask you this one thing. And, you know, Mike and Baum encourages you to act as if you're feeling your way through it. Because it seems, it kind of makes it more intimate, I think. So you're trying to create cognitive dissonance. Somebody tell me what cognitive dissonance. Anybody?
The dissonance, like it's not making sense, or I don't know the exact terminology.
Okay, it's where you have two ideas that are incompatible with each other, but you're holding those two ideas at the same time. Like, here's an idea. I can drink anytime I want, as much as I want, and it's not going to have any kind of negative impact on my life. I really like that idea. That was a good idea. But then these other ideas keep creeping in. Well, you know, I got drunk and I did this stupid thing, and that stupid thing, and that stupid thing. It's really having a negative impact on my life. What do I do? I don't know. These two ideas, they don't fit together. And so this is, you lead the person with questions to the point where, you know, the guy that says, you know, when I get out of here, I'm just going to go back to smoking pot. I really like smoking pot, and I don't hurt anything. It's a natural thing. My favorite thing that people say. You know, arsenic is a natural thing. I'm not recommending that either. So you try to lead people with a series of questions to where you want them to go. You know, your kid comes home and says, well, you know what, I'm going to quit school and then I'm going to go live in a commune, and, you know, most of it is after the initial, and then you go, oh, tell me more. Because you're still working on, well, it's on the previous slide, you're still working on that relationship. Because if you destroy the relationship, then you got nothing, right? Then you're not going to have any kind of and you lead them along. So you ask a lot of what and how questions, and not why. Why is that? What and how are concrete, right? What are you doing? Well, I'm standing in front of a crowd of people talking about stuff. How are you doing it? Well, I'm waving my arms around and, you know, getting all excited about stuff. Why are you doing it? Well, see, that's where you start getting philosophical now, isn't it? It's because I like to help people. Because I feel the need to share my experience of recovery so that we can lessen the suffering in the world. And I've asked the why question to clients. And if you ask the why question to someone who has schizophrenia, let me tell you, you're going to be educated. And again, you know, you suggest these personal experiments.
I think the why question many times for clients also comes across as being judgmental.
I believe you're
And
correct.
And all we're missing is, I mean, we try and be nice and therapeutic and say, why? And the client hears, why, you dumbass? And then immediately the defenses go up, because none of us like to be attacked.
Exactly.
Like that business of being told what to do, none of us like to be told you did a dumb thing.
Exactly.
We'd rather have the dumb thing be our own thought, then we can admit it, we can own it,
Exactly.
and it opens the world to I could have done something else.
Exactly.
But you come after me with, you know, and we don't intend to do it, but I know myself, I sometimes have asked why in a very kind of condescending, well, why? I mean, if
What the hell
the
were you
client
thinking?
hears, I'm being attacked,
Yep.
I'm being judgmental.
Yeah.
I got a question.
Yes.
With the cognitive dissonance, back to what you were talking about earlier,
Yes.
is it kind of like convincing somebody that putting smoke in the pot is their idea? Or like say you're a bouncer at a bar and you're talking to somebody, they're drunk, they're pissed off at first because they want to stay and get more drunk, but you talk them into that really they actually really want to leave. Like they don't want to be in the bar anymore because they're drunk. But like you put it in a way to them that's like they're like, yeah, you know what, screw this place, I'm gonna leave. You know. That's I used to do that for a long time, and that's kind of how I feel like with some of my clients. Like I've heard this place doesn't matter. When I get out here, I'm just gonna smoke meth again anyhow. And it's like, well, yeah, it's like, well, that's eventually that will be your choice. But
Yeah. And you know, we have a number of tools that help in the program create the cognitive dissonance. We have this thing called kind of a brain bird here. Anyway, we have a number of tools that to get people to accumulate facts on kind of both sides of the issue, such that you know they're like, well, this is true, but this is true too.
they weigh it out themselves.
Right. Exactly right. You roll with resistance. The guy says, you know what, when I get out of here, I'm just going to go back to smoking meth. Oh, okay, well, you can do that, you know.
Yeah.
And then you might choose to work on some cognitive dissonance. You know, what else are you going to do with your life? You might choose to work on the therapeutic relationship a little bit. You know, you're rolling with resistance. I tell my staff you want to be a salesperson for mental health. By which I mean, if you go in to buy a used car, but you know, where we get this is social services. Okay, so you go in there, the guy doesn't say, what you need is this car right here. You need it, this one right here. This is the one you're going to have. Yeah, he schmoozes you. He builds that therapeutic relationship, right? So you're saying, well, geez, I don't know if I can afford that one. He says, oh, well, let's see. You know, I know this is the one you want, so let's, you know, look at it. We'll try and figure out how we can, you know, what do I have to do to get you in this car today? That's what we're doing here. Same kind of thing. I have occasionally said to my staff, gee, I wish I was selling something I got a commission on. Okay, now, IMNR and IDDT is integrated dual diagnosis treatment, and IMNR is illness management and recovery. And these are two packets of treatment materials that come from SAMHSA, which are almost identical. The IDDT stuff was developed for folks with both mental illness and chemical dependency. And the IMNR stuff, I think they were working basically with schizophrenic, depressed people and bipolar. But it's a good package anyway, and it's cognitive behavioral type stuff. So you're teaching skills and so forth. And there's modules. Right now, there's a recovery strategies module. That's module number 1. Then there's some practical facts about mental illness. So you're educating the client about their condition. Stress vulnerability model, which basically says that we each of us have certain vulnerabilities to certain types of stressors, and we succumb to those stressors and get sick. Building social support. Human beings are social animals. And you're not going to be successful in your recovery unless you have incorporated into your life getting your social needs met. Using medications kind of speaks for itself. I mean, it's a huge issue. A lot of times people that we know would be mostly free of symptoms if they just take their meds. You know, how many times have you had this conversation? You know, it's not like a headache where you take an aspirin and it goes away and then you don't have to take the aspirin anymore. Or this one. It's like diabetes. What they found is that if you educate people on all the facts about the medication, they're more likely to continue to take it. Both IDDT and IMR have a section on drug and alcohol use because they found out, amazingly enough, a lot of people who aren't necessarily diagnosed with chemical use issues but are being treated for schizophrenia, depression, bipolar disorder, whatever, they may also have some drug and alcohol issues that, you know, if you educate them about it, it's helpful. Reducing relapses, and it speaks for itself. Coping with stress. Up here you got, well, if you don't deal with stress well, you get sick. Down here you got coping with stress, so you don't get sick. Coping with symptoms. Well, let's say, you know, you cope with stress, but you got some symptoms anyway. What do you do about it? Never forget interviewing a guy, pre-placement interview, and in his referral information it says he hears voices. So I say to him, so, you know, where are you at with the voices? Do you still hear voices? He said, oh yeah, but not bad ones. Apparently his mother would tell him he was doing good. And I'm thinking, I think it's And then talking about getting your needs met in the mental health system. It boggles my mind. You get people who are here because they have a mental condition that probably impairs their ability to navigate complex things, and then you plop them in the middle of the most complex thing in the universe, the mental health system. You know, are you on a commitment? Are you on a stay of commitment? Are you on probation? What kind of funding do you have? Do you have a candy waiver? Do you have this? Do you have that? I can't keep it straight. And, you know, I like to think I'm doing okay mental health-wise at the moment.